Color has always been more than decoration in art. It's been a secret language, a currency, and a direct line to the human soul. From the Renaissance to modernism, artists wielded pigments like alchemists, transforming raw minerals into vessels of meaning and emotion that still speak to us centuries later. In Renaissance Europe, ultramarine blue was literally worth more than gold. Ground from lapis lazuli mined in Afghanistan and transported across treacherous trade routes, this luminous pigment cost so much that contracts specified exactly where it could be used. Artists reserved it almost exclusively for one subject: the Virgin Mary's robes. When you stand before a Renaissance Madonna draped in that celestial blue, you're not just seeing a color choice, you're witnessing an act of devotion measured in precious stones. The 15th century painter Canino Cennini called ultramarine a glorious, lovely, and absolutely perfect pigment beyond all the pigments. And patrons who commissioned paintings with ultramarine were making a statement about their wealth and piety that everyone could read. Red told equally complex stories. Vermilion, synthesized through a dangerous alchemical process combining mercury and sulfur, became the cornerstone of Renaissance palettes. Titian used it to create flesh tones that seemed to pulse with life, while in China, it symbolized nobility and eternity, reserved for imperial palaces and sacred texts. The very act of creating vermilion was seen as a metaphor for spiritual transformation, base materials transmuted into something transcendent. When Renaissance artists painted Christ's robes in vermilion, they were invoking martyrdom, sacrifice, and the blood of salvation all at once. But pigments carried risks beyond their price tags. Many were toxic: lead white, orpiment, verdigris, and artists literally poisoned themselves for their craft. The instability of certain pigments meant that paintings could transform over time, their original meanings fading or darkening as the chemistry betrayed the artist's intentions. Some of Rothko's color-field paintings from the 20th century have faded dramatically because he used lithol red, a pigment that couldn't withstand light exposure. By the time modernism arrived, the conversation had shifted. Wasily Kandinsky, who learned cello and piano as a child, believed that color is the keyboard, the eyes are the harmonies, the soul is the piano with many strings. He wrote extensively about color's spiritual power, arguing that each hue possessed its own psychic vibration that could directly affect the human body and soul. Mark Rothko took this philosophy even further with his massive color field paintings, where blocks of layered pigment seemed to dematerialize into pure light. Rothko wasn't interested in depicting anything. He wanted to evoke basic human emotions: tragedy, ecstasy, doom through color alone. The evolution from Renaissance symbolism to modernist abstraction reveals something profound. Whether artists were spending fortunes on ultramarine to honor the Virgin Mary, or layering reds and oranges to trigger existential contemplation, they understood that color bypasses our rational minds and speaks directly to something deeper. The secret language of color isn't really secret at all. It's written in our nervous systems, our cultural memories, and our shared human experience of light transformed into meaning.